of the truly remarkable stories of the Trump era, because there's plenty of data, there's plenty of evidence, Tom, to suggest that not only is Donald Trump not the one bringing Latinos to the Republican Party, but he is in fact an obstacle to an even bigger rightward
Hmm.
shift. And the
Hmm.
evidence for that is pretty overwhelming. It's pretty simple. In all of his elections, he's run for president 3 times. Republicans down ticket have done better than him in Hispanic dense precincts, which again is a very quick, simple, easy, but significant sign that if he was the magnet bringing people over, why is everybody else doing better than he is?
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, so that's, the conventional wisdom, the quick hot takes are going to be like, oh, Trump, they're under the Trump spell. I'm not saying that some of them aren't. Of course they are.
Sure.
But what I'm also saying is I look for demographic explanations, for scientific explanations for why people are behaving the way they are. And to me, it's pretty clear. It's this changing coalitions of the working class moving towards the Republican Party broadly, regardless of race or ethnicity. But also, perhaps more importantly, the fact that 80% of new Latino voters, 30% of which are under the age of 30, by the way, a third of the Latino electorate is under 30. These are overwhelmingly U.S. born, view themselves as typically American. In the vast majority of cases, don't speak Spanish, don't watch Telemundo, are going to the same. They're watching Joe Rogan. They're doing what everybody else is at that same age demographic is. So I think when people look at enough data to understand why it's happening, it makes a little bit more rational sense rather than these people are all under some spell that Donald Trump has got them cast under.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So should I be moving up Marco Rubio in my 2028 rankings?
What the great irony is I was a big Marco fan before this whole Trump era because he was 180 degrees different person. He was a much more opening, welcoming person. Now he's just kind of full blown MAGA, obviously.
Yeah.
I would not count him out because he has been able to kind of straddle both worlds.
Hmm.
He has been able to get into the inner sanctum of Donald Trump's, MAGA, trust circle.
Yeah.
But he does have some crossover appeal. He absolutely does.
Oh, interesting. Before you hopped on here, I was reading from your latest post, and this gets to something I wanted to follow up on with you because you had a trip a few months ago to a Latino haven, so to say. This is the post at The Great Transformation with Mike Madrid on Substack. What you didn't know about Latino entrepreneurship, published a week or so ago. You talked about a Wallet Hub study, which examined states witnessing the greatest growth among entrepreneurs. I was shocked by this. Which state is it?
Overwhelmingly, the state that performs the best is Florida, followed by Texas.
Wow.
And California, which has the largest Latino population by a wide stretch, doesn't make the list until 25. And 25 is a city named Santa Clarita, which is a pretty Latino Republican city.
Interesting.
So, and it's very suburbanized. It's again, this is that demographic we're talking about. It's a very second, third, fourth generation Latino, higher college education rates, very business friendly environment. And so, even where you're seeing entrepreneurship in California, and again, how the largest Latino state in the union doesn't make the list until 25 is just an embarrassment. But when it does, it's even then it's in more conservative areas. So yeah, but
Well,
it
and
explains a
you
lot. Explains a lot about why we're seeing Latino voting behavior change in these areas.
okay? So, in politics, or professional politics, at least, is the intersection of understanding this and the ability to make a buck off of it.
Yeah.
And so, a couple months ago, you were down in Miami, where CPAC is expanding to make a buck off of it. So, are they doing it right?
No, this was beautiful. It was so bad. It was so bad. Like I was shocked at how bad because I mean sometimes look in politics there are some of these aha moments where you're like, Oh my God, like CPAC has figured it out. Like they're going to do a big CPAC Latino, the first one. Of course, it's going to be in South Florida. Of course, it's going to be with the Cubans. But still, set that aside. At least they figured it out. So I get some plane tickets and I fly down, get some media credentials because I want to see this. Like, what is this going to be like? And what it ended up really being was it was a partnership with another existing like Latino Chamber of Commerce event.
Hmm.
And so you had a wealthier, upwardly mobile business class Latino community, which you have it in Florida, right? A lot of the very successful Cuban entrepreneurs. And then you meshed it with sort of the kitschy, you know, um, red, white, and blue, Uncle Sam, grassroots, crazy folks from CPAC. And it was just a spectacular crash of cultures that had no business being in the same room together. Tom, it was awkward. It was painfully awkward. Going like, man, you had a great idea, but none of you thought about it beyond how great of an idea it was. And sometimes a great idea can turn out really, really badly in reality, and that's exactly what CPAC Latino was. It was so bad. I can't explain it to you because everybody up on stage is trying to the pyrotechnic fireworks and trying to talk about how much they hate the Democrats and like anti-trans stuff, and these business leaders are like, what the hell am I wasting my time? What is this? Is this like a circus? And yeah, just really, really, really bad. Really, really missed the mark.
like okay, timeshares, crypto,
Yeah.
Herbalife.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well put. That's what it was. Add some fireworks in there, some dancing Uncle Sam figures, some golden Donald Trump calves, and it's like all of these business owners are like, they're not grassrootsy right-wing MAGA people. These are people that are worried about the business climate, like talking about your policies on international trade. We want to hear about like this tariff rationale, like what's going on? Why are you doing this? And what
Oh,
they were
interesting.
getting was they were getting the crazy, the CPAC nuts. And it could not have been. It was like having a meat convention next to the vegetarian convention, and then deciding, hey, let's all get in the same room and have a conversation. It was really bad.
It seems like maybe they didn't read the Latino Century.
That's what I'm saying is, as critical as I am of the Democrats, I'm far more critical of the Republicans. And so I think a lot of people hear me and go, "Oh, he's just bringing bad news." It's like, no, I'm not. The Republicans have not figured this out. Let me make that really clear. And in fact, the CPAC example really brought it home, even to me, who's known this for 30 years, how far off the mark they are and how little they really care to understand it. They're trying to take advantage of something demographically that's happening, and they can't even take a win correctly. So if I am leaving some of those Democrats out there like deflated or angry, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying these guys, the Republicans, do not get it. They're winning these voters despite their best efforts, not because of them. There's no data, Tom. There is no polling data, or very, very little, showing that Latinos are changing their political beliefs and realigning to the Republican Party. There are some slight registration movements that is happening, but very slight. So I don't want to say there's none, but overwhelmingly what we're really watching is what we call a de-alignment, not a realignment. And that de-alignment means they're moving away from the Democratic Party. They're moving away from both parties. It's just the Democrats started in such a strong position that they're seeing the effects more. And so, look, Latinos we're the only group in America that's 50-50 vote. Everybody else is pretty much hyper, split and polarized.
Yeah.
Latinos are 50-50. And that's happening for a reason, but it's literally because half of Latinos hate Republicans, the other half are done with the Democrats. That's all it is. That's all. So it's all completely fixable. Like I said, there's no Pied Piper here. There's